it's your first time on my channel, my name is Anel Griselda. So you guys know I'm a big fan of Northern Ireland. You guys know that I would not leave Northern Ireland for anything in the world. I'm so in love with this place and I'm always saying nice things about Northern Ireland. I always preach about the fact that Northern Ireland is the most affordable place to live in the UK. For instance, I pay only £525 per month for my 2-bedroom apartment. We don't pay water bill in Northern Ireland. There's nothing like council tax in Northern Ireland. There's nothing like congestion charge in Northern Ireland. It's peaceful, it's safe. But there's another part in Northern Ireland that I think you guys need to know, because it's like these days everybody's asking, I know, I would like to move to Northern Ireland like yourself. I'd like to come here. I need to let you know, the other side of Northern Ireland that is not so out there, especially for migrants like myself. So if you're interested, stay tuned.
Said it before. Hey, stop that.
Before we start, let me give a big shout out to the sponsor of today's video. So today's video is sponsored by Skillshare. So Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for anyone who wants to learn a new skill or to explore their creativity. Personally, I discovered Skillshare about 3-4 months ago before they even decided to collaborate with me. And the person that made me discover Skillshare was Ali Abdaal. Ali Abdaal, he's this popular YouTuber. He has millions of subscribers and he first spoke about Skillshare, and then from that time I have been on that platform. He had this link that gave me free access to the platform for over a month and I fell in love with the platform. Funny enough, Skillshare decided to collaborate with me as well. I am taking a class on how to edit my YouTube videos. I'm taking this class from Ali Abdaal, who's one of my favorite YouTubers, and I'm loving it, guys. The things I'm learning, it's more like a Netflix, but this time around for learning. So recently I just learned how Ali Abdaal does his handwritten things on the screen. I always used to wonder how. I have searched on YouTube, but I just discovered how he does it through his online class on video editing in Final Cut Pro. And guys, I am learning a lot. So if you're trying to learn any specific skill, be it photography, video editing, graphic designing, cooking, freelancing, every single thing, you definitely find a class that will match your goals and your interest on Skillshare. So if you want to develop your skills, level up your game, and grow personally, explore your creativity, Skillshare is the platform for you. And guys, guess what? If you use the link in the description and then the code on the screen, you get access to 1 month free trial using Skillshare. So go explore, check out my guy Ali Abdaal and his tips on video editing and how to grow your YouTube channel and any other skill that you want, guys. So use the link in the description to get 1 month free trial. 1 month free trial on Skillshare. That's amazing, guys. So check it out and then try and let me know what you think. Guys, let me talk about Northern Ireland. So there's some not so pleasant things about Northern Ireland. No offense, guys. It has to do with being a migrant and I think I have to share. So I think these things are about 5. I'm going to talk about them. So the first thing is there are not many foreigners here compared to England. And that might seem that, oh, that's okay, but that can translate to many things. My first time here, when I took a flight, I had to transit in Heathrow, London, and then we came to Belfast. From my home country to London, there were so many blacks, obviously, on the plane, but from London to Northern Ireland, myself and Priscilla were the only blacks on the plane. And when we got here at the airport, we were the only blacks. You could sense that you are an alien, like you are different and everybody's looking at you. And there were several of us, at the arrival section, but this airport security or whatever, he didn't ask anybody else any question. He just came straight to myself and Priscilla and asked us where we are coming from and if he could search our bags. Meanwhile, there are several of us that landed from the same plane, but we're the only ones he asked. You see, when you are odd, a lot of things happen. Because there are not so many blacks, I have a friend at work. She says that her son is the only one in their class like us. And then she always says that, like, whenever she goes to pick her kids from the school, she doesn't even have to suffer to search for the child. Immediately the school closes. From afar, she can spot the child. That's the black boy there. Because the son is the only black in the school, in the entire school. Can you imagine? If you're unable to instill confidence in your kids, if you're unable to get them to have that mental realization that it's okay to be odd, it can affect the confidence of your kids. It can lead to low self-esteem because they are likely to face bullying. They are likely to face all sorts of things because they are odd. Some of the kids can be mean, and so those are the things. If I would leave Northern Ireland, this would be one of the reasons, because it's likely my son is going to be the only black in his class, and if he's not a tough person, it can really affect his self-esteem and then his confidence confidence and all that. And that's not what you want for your kids, right? Even with adults, we suffer. If you listen to what Toasting was sharing, even with adults, we face some of these discrimination and things like that. How much more a kid that is growing up that knows nothing, it's really going to affect their self-esteem and then, their morale and everything. And it can even affect their studies if care is not taken. If they don't get a good teacher, if they don't get good classmates, it can really affect them. A friend's child was playing at this particular playground, and then one of the kids said, the swing is not for colored kids. I mean, like, if your child is not strong, this can really go a long way to affect them. So you need to be able to psych your children up, because there are not so many blacks, like I said, and it can be really, really some way. The second thing is the transport system. I always say that if I was living in London or anywhere in England, I wouldn't have bought a car, because the transport system is just so great. Every 5 minutes, there's a train or there's a bus going to wherever you're going to. In Belfast, in Northern Ireland, I live in the main city, but sometimes I have to wait for an hour for the next bus to a particular place, or let's say 40 minutes or 50 minutes. If it's a holiday or if it's a weekend, forget about it. Sometimes they start work as late as 9. So imagine if you did 9 shifts and you close at 8, and there's no bus or there's no train to pick you from work to home because it's too early, they haven't started work yet, or because it's a holiday, or because it's a weekend. The weekends, they don't start work early, and then holidays, it's really not convenient. The Belfast or the Northern Ireland transport system is really not that convenient. So if you're here, you may want to buy a car. Let me talk about the culture. I love Northern Ireland. I love the Irish people, but they have history. There used to be war here in Northern Ireland, mainly between the Catholics and then the Protestants. And, from time to time, these things pop up. It's a safe place, but there are some areas in Northern Ireland to date that if you're Catholic, you can't pass by, or if you're an Irish, you can't pass there, or if you're British, you can't pass. There's still, one of those little things here. I recently had a son, and he hasn't been circumcised. This lady called me that she and her husband, they are moving to Northern Ireland, because the cost of living is okay, and that, do I know where she can get her son circumcised? I'm like, don't even ask me about it. When I gave birth, and I was asking, so when is the circumcision? In Ghana, it's done the same week that she gave birth. When is the circumcision? They told me circumcision. I'm like, okay, it's like, even the midwives did not want to talk about it. I'm like, what is it? So later I realized that it is not really a culture here. So you have to book, and then they don't see it as an emergency. So when I even booked, they called me to ask me why I want to do it. I said, for religious reasons or for cultural reasons. My son has to be circumcised. Then they said, okay, it's not an emergency, so we have to put him in a queue whenever there's a slot. My son is going to 1 year now, and he has still not been circumcised. And that's because I'm in Northern Ireland. I have friends that gave birth to male children, and they were circumcised in London the same week. So I asked other mothers in Northern Ireland, and it looks like that's the norm here. So like, that's a strange culture, with some things. Another thing is Northern Ireland can be extremely boring. So in London you can have Wizkid shows, Burna Boy shows, Davido shows, but here there's nothing like that, because they know that we don't have a big black community, or we don't have a big African community. So if they come and then do such a program here, those programs are high cost programs. They're going to run at a loss, so they don't have such shows here. So if you want to go, you'd have to travel all the way to London for such programs. So it can be really, really boring here. We don't have African friendly events, you understand? And another thing is the inconvenience. Living in Northern Ireland can be extremely inconvenient. See, I can't get a direct flight from here to Ghana. No. And I'm sure you can't get one from here to Nigeria as well. What you have to do is get one to London, sometimes lay over for 4 hours, 5 hours before you move to your country. So it can be very inconvenient. Meanwhile, if I was living in London, I could get a direct flight from, let's say, London City Airport or Heathrow Airport directly to Ghana. But living here is not like that. You'd have to always go there, and then, can you imagine? Another thing that makes inconvenience is, for instance, there's no Ghana High Commission office here in Northern Ireland. So when I had to renew my passport, I had to travel all the way to London. There's no issue traveling to London, but think about the cost, because you can't drive to London. You'd have to take a flight to London. So the flight cost, and if you're going to live in a hotel, you have to pay for your hotel and your food as well. So it can be very inconvenient. I wanted to do a passport for my son. I called the High Commission that it's a baby. I don't think you need him to do a biometric. Can we just send pictures and then they'll do the passport? They said no. I have to fly the baby from Northern Ireland to London for the passport, because there's no office here for Ghana High Commission. So my baby had not even been to church before, but we took him on a plane. To London to get his picture, just a picture taking for his passport. It was so inconvenient. And then now look, because I was a new mom and I couldn't take him alone, so we had to book flights, myself, my husband, and my son. So 3 people on a plane. So you can imagine the cost. We had to go to a hotel. You can imagine the cost. We had to eat the entire time period that we were there. You can imagine the cost. Those are the things that are inconvenient. I have a friend from Nigeria that says that anytime he has to go to the Nigerian embassy or whatever, he has to go to Ireland, because he doesn't even want to waste money going to the one in London. He has to go to Ireland itself himself because Ireland is closer to Northern Ireland than London, because you can go to Ireland by car. So he goes to Ireland to do whatever and then he has to come back. It's so inconvenient. Like the entire Northern Ireland, we have only 2 African markets. Only 2 main African markets. The rest are like Asian markets that sell African stuff. Meanwhile, in London, every corner there's an African market. Sometimes when I need some things, the African market here does not have it. Like if I want to make shito, if you're Ghanaian, you know what shito is, I have to buy from London. Or if I want to make some things, because when they sell it here, because we don't have a lot of blacks here, they'll run out of law, so we don't even sell it. We don't sell a lot of things. You can't get Kobe, you can't get a lot of things from here. So that's another thing that makes living here a bit inconvenient, okay? And I live in the city, I live in the main city, that's Belfast, and I'm experiencing all these things. So think about those that live outskirts of Belfast. I don't wish to be in their shoes, not at all. The accent can be extremely difficult to understand. You know, when I first came, I couldn't hear them and I was tired of saying pardon, excuse me, can you repeat what you said? I was just so tired. So I would always say, yeah, that's all right. As if I heard what they said, but I didn't really hear what they said. There was a time I went to the surgery, and then I had already spoken to her, but I had asked so many times, pardon, what did you say? Come again. So I was really tired. So the next thing she said, I'm like, yeah, that's all right. That's all right. That's cool. She kept repeating whatever she was saying, and then I'm like, yeah, that's okay. But then she was just looking at me, and then I'm like, come again? And she said, your name and your date of birth. Guys, the embarrassment. I was tired of saying come again. So I'm like, okay, let me just pretend I've heard her. Not knowing she was asking for my date of birth and my name. Can you imagine the accent? Those are some of the things about Northern Ireland, the harsh reality, the inconvenience, boring, poor transport system, the accent, strange culture, and the fact that there aren't so many foreigners, you know, and that can make it a bit not so pleasant. But I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think. Have you been to Northern Ireland before? Do you wish to come? Let me know which of these things would really bother you if you were to come. Comment below and let me know what you think. Guys, don't forget to sign up with Skillshare using my code and the link in the description, okay, for a 1-month free trial. You are going to love it. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Anel Griselda. Bye.
Hi.
Bye.
Are you doing a YouTube video?
Yeah.
Say something.
Come again?
Can I say something? Hello, Daddy.
Okay.
Hello, Daddy. What is she doing?
A YouTube video.
What about?
About Africans.
I
Yeah.
thought you were gonna do like. Yeah, we'll come back in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Oh, you going? Oh. Hiya.
Hi.
What?
Yeah.
What are you farting on? No, vlogging.
I'm vlogging.
What on?
My camera.
YouTube.
What?
Is it going on YouTube?
Yeah, it's YouTube. I have a YouTube channel.
What's it called? I probably seen it. I watch every YouTube thing.
Oh,
It's Todd.
come again?
But YouTube name Todd.
Lanelle.
Yeah. I do it every time.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I might jump off of Logan.
Yeah. And then you can, you know, do you watch Mr. Beast?
Yeah?
You like him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, see you later. Bye.
Bye.